Hello and welcome back to the Facts of Facts, the only Facts of Life podcast that's hopefully in your ear. See what I did there?
Yeah.
We are back. We are quarantined. I've got ear pods in that I'm going to be fiddling with the whole time because I don't like them. And we are going to be discussing New York, New York, which is episode 20, I
Mm.
believe, of season 20. No, it's 19. It's
Yeah, it is.
19. 20's coming up. It's 19 of season 3, which is exciting for Brit. You know, we're almost a quarter of the way done.
Of this season?
No, series.
Wow, only a quarter. It's like,
Not a quarter yet. Let's
oh,
not get ahead of ourselves. We're
right.
approaching our 50th podcast, which will happen before the end of the season.
And that's a quarter of the way through.
Almost.
Jesus Christ.
Uh,
I didn't know I
about
didn't this was going to take me to my grave.
so somewhere in right after 52, but before 53 is done, that's a quarter.
Okay, great. I'm looking forward to that.
It will be exciting. But you know what? There's going to be some things like we're going to do the whole Facts of Life go to Paris as one episode, things like that. So it will be a little bit less.
But again, I don't think that it's maybe less in terms of how long the podcasts are, but it does seem as though it takes up just as much time as anything else in my life. Like this is perhaps the most taxing, time-consuming activity I do, and I don't do much. So it's literally like this and then cooking and sleeping.
I mean, what else is there to do?
Right
I'm,
now.
I'm honestly thankful that we have this to do because what else
What else would
do
we
we
do?
have to do?
True. I will say that the benefit of this episode is that because I've actually been like I've been having it up to here for in terms of Natalie. Natalie's been the most irritating she could possibly be for the past few episodes. And she's not in it at all. And yet she still manages to be annoying.
I thought Natalie delivered some really funny lines this episode. Personally, even though she's hardly in it, I think she had like 3 good reactions or something. I will get into it, but I will say this, which just pleases me that you said that. Um, Next week's episode is maybe Natalie's worst episode.
Sweet.
Basic,
Great.
I if I've got my order right, and who knows, I think I do. If I got my order right, the next episode, one of the girls, Blair, I believe, reads Natalie's diary, and Natalie makes a big deal out of it, even though. And it's funny because it's here, it's in my notes, but I'll jump out of order. Even though Natalie has no problem going through Tootie's bags and pockets and finding a ticket from yesteryear and reading it, that's fine. But when Blair goes through her diary, that's not okay.
Well, I will say though that I am a little surprised that it wasn't Tootie going through Natalie's personal belongings because she's the person who, needs to find out every secret, right? And then exposes them. But here's the reason why they use Blair, because Blair is always the person behind Natalie's worst nightmares. Finding out that her dad
Yes,
is cheating on her mom and the fact that she's adopted. So it's always Blair being the problem person in Natalie's life.
true.
So
It's true. Anyway, let's get into this episode though,
yes.
because I honestly normally I ask you very few questions, but I'm usually like, "Are you enjoying this episode?" And this time I was like, I don't know what she's gonna think of this one. I know that it has things that bother her, but things that she likes. Like she doesn't like when they argue, and she doesn't like when there's not much purpose. But she does like when Natalie's not around. So there was options. Anyway, before I ask you that question, let's just talk about the writer of the episode. Get that out of the way. His name's Peter Noah.
Okay.
He will go on to write the abortion episode from next year.
Sweet.
Spoiler alert. He also got to start writing jokes for Alex Trebek on Alex Trebek's pre-Jeopardy game show called The New High Rollers, which, according to their tagline, contestants had to roll really big dice. So
Wait,
once I read that,
like
I know you're. I have the answer because when I read that, and we're like, how big? So I got really excited. They're so fucking small. They're like fists.
Smaller than regular dice?
No, they're bigger than regular dice, but not really big dice, as the tagline says. They're like fists.
Ugh, well, that's bullshit.
They're like fuzzy dice-sized dice. Anyway, they're not big. But after that, Peter Noah went on to write One Day at a Time, Alice, Mr. Sunshine, but not the Mr. Sunshine with Matthew Perry. Mr. Sunshine, where Jeffrey Tambor plays a blind college professor, and it's all about his misadventures. So, yes,
That sounds
Jeffrey Tambor doing... Yeah, he does blind face.
And he
So,
also did face.
what's that?
He also did trans face.
He did, and I had feelings about that as well. But the show was created by David Lloyd, who did Dear John, Anything But Love, Frasier, obviously,
Nice.
Cafe Americaine, which I love. It was my cat's butt, by the way, just in case anybody's enjoying the video version of this podcast. He did Dweebs and Ladies Man, which are two sitcoms that I loved that had like no following. He also did Yes Dear, but finally after Yes Dear, he made the switch to dramas. He wrote West Wing, Scandal, Kingdom, Blacklist, what's it called? A Designated Survivor. Let me move my notes. Designated Survivor, and he also is currently on The Good Doctor. So he's still working, which is very rare for Facts of Life writers. I think this is the first one.
So is this the only episode of Facts of Life that he wrote?
No, he did the abortion one.
So it's this is the first one, and then the one that's next season?
Yes.
Because I was wondering, because this episode made two jokes that last season made, or the season before. One about the boat people, and the other one about Shogun. So
All at once.
all at once. So I was curious about that because that's quite shocking, and I thought he might have actually just like lifted his plagiarized his own work. But
No, you know how it's written by committee often, but so I can't promise that this Peter Noah is a racist, as especially since he works today. Shout out to Peter Noah, love a job on The Good Doctor. Anyway, so yeah, let's get into it. What did you think of the episode?
So, this was truly weird because it was an episode that I ostensibly, I imagine the showrunners wanted to set up the dynamic that Blair and Joe are actually really good friends. Like this is the starting point of their cute dynamic of not really hating as much as they fake like they do, right?
Yeah.
Whereas that was the intention, and in execution, they somehow managed to show us the worst versions of Joe and Blair because these were their best friends that they go back to hang out with in the city. And then they suddenly realized that they were just as classist and abusive and racist as these people were that they ostensibly wanted to hang out with so badly. So basically it showed us the worst versions of what, if Joe and Blair had not gone to Eastland, here's how they would have turned out. Xenophobic,
Yes.
racist, and abusive.
Yeah, they're trying to say that education will make stupid and bigoted people better because they will see all different walks of the world. Sorry for my cat. I mean, that's the nice way of looking at it, right?
I suppose, but let's get into this.
All right.
Hi.
You ready to get into this, Amex? Amex is ready to get into this. Here you go over there. So we start, and there's very little Mrs. Garrett this week. So especially since this is our inaugural video podcast, I'm hoping that you'll just whip that hair into a bun and do a Mrs. Garrett for me. She always has to put it into a bun every time she does it.
I do.
So Mrs. Garrett opens having some kind of like cocaine-fueled fever dream.
Seemed like it. She mentioned not only bumps, but she also mentioned powder.
So I was hoping maybe you could perform for me a little bit of her opening monologue.
I'll try.
Just getting comfortable.
I wish I'd gotten like some, like 2 mops. But she goes, bumps to the left of me, bumps to the right of me. Into the Valley of Powder we go!
I hope the Facts of Lovelies had their 3D glasses on for that, because you were going into the Valley of Powder. That was spectacular. Thank you very much for that. So Tootie expositions a little bit about how she and Mrs. G and Nat are going skiing. And
Yes.
so we're obviously not going to be seeing skiing because they mentioned it, and that's the rule. And Tootie points out that Natalie's going to love it as a cue for Natalie to enter and say that she's not going. They've given so much detail to this plot that's so excruciatingly important to this whole episode that the episode honestly falls apart if Natalie wants to go skiing.
Right. But I thought actually they kind of got her back in the boat of wanting to go skiing, to mix a lot of metaphors. I think they turned it around because she was like, if I do, because her thing, she's like, I'm not going. I woke up this morning with a vivid image of me in a full body cast because skiing is dangerous. And then she says, do you have any idea how many signatures it takes to cover one of those? Because
she's only got 3 friends.
So yeah, but that's the thing, is that of course Natalie needs like this sort of external validation for how much people like her by having signatures on her full body cast, not the fact that she's in horrible pain, but just that she doesn't have enough friends to sign her whole body cast.
Hey, that's a sad fact.
Anyway, so she's afraid of getting injured, right? And then she goes into because she went into Tootie's jacket and finds her old lift ticket, right?
Yes.
And Mrs. Garrett reads it out loud and saying, like, we're basically like a legal document, just says like, we're not responsible for you being injured, right? Because skiing is a dangerous sport.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
It's not a sport. It's a death wish.
Mrs. Garrett is pretty good at manipulating the girls individually at this point.
Yeah.
Because she knows exactly what to say to Natalie to guarantee that Natalie is going to get up on that slope and specifically break her leg on purpose.
Yeah.
She's basically...
Then a dick is going to fall on her face. She's going to be able to...
Exactly.
Yeah.
First time Mrs. Garrett was on slopes, she got some dick. That's basically all I put. Natalie's like, what? Dick? Tell me more. And
Mrs. Garrett is the craziest thing. She goes, the first time I went skiing, I tripped over a tree trunk and twisted my ankle. So, okay. But then she had to be carried down the mountain by an incredibly handsome ski instructor. Natalie just goes like, "Auga eyes," and goes, "Oh?" And then Miss tells her the story, and she spent the rest of the trip sipping hot cocoa, fatty Natalie's favorite thing, a nice sweet thing, and sitting on her ass while having a man dope.
I will say this, that Mrs. Garrett is only like halfway to, like, she hasn't even gotten to the dick when Blair comes in and story crashes the whole event, which I thought was ridiculous.
Yeah, because about her hot ski instructor, Lars.
Yes, Lars. And I would like to make a shout out today. My good friend Julie is having a birthday, and she's the one who invented the phrase story crashing, which is when you're trying to, like, tell a story, someone comes in and is like, my story's better, yo. And it wasn't, by the way, Blair. But anyway, so happy birthday, Julie. And I hope that all of our Facts of Lovelies will start using the phrase story crasher so it gets out there and the whole world knows that that is not okay. Don't be a story crasher.
No.
Little PSA. Also, don't go into your friends' pockets and look at their lift tickets from years ago because it's fucking weird.
It is weird.
It's invasive. Anyway. Joe comes in with some cool army bag that I was like, ooh, I'd put everything in that. Yeah. And Blair's like, what are you doing, you stupid fuck? Are you on maneuvers? We're going to New York. Where's your purple blazer and real estate outfit like I'm wearing?
Yeah, but Blair comes in because they're going to New York for one night. They're going for 2 days, right?
48 hours.
And Joe comes
Peter Van Zandt.
Yeah, okay. Pretty big backpack for 2 days, right? But Blair, of course, brings in like 9 steamer trunks. And Joe's like, what the fuck is the matter with you? We're only going for 48 hours. And Blair says, oh shit, I need to bring my backup hairdryer. then just leaves.
Yeah. Well, okay. Blair's hair is like if you're going anywhere for 2 days and it's New York and you have Blair hair
Yeah.
and there's a risk that something bad could happen to your one hair dryer, backup seems fine. I understood that. I got that. I just think that Joe saying, hey, what's with all the luggage is like me saying, hey, Britt, what's with all the Mrs. Garrett impressions? It comes with the package and it's a good thing. Every time that Blair's going anywhere, we get a lovely prop comedy bit about all the luggage she has. Why do you guys shit on that, Joe? What's that about?
Well, it's just to show that they're so completely distinctly different, right? And so the point of
it.
yeah, we get it. Because it's just Joe comes in with her army backpack and she goes, what do you think we're going to be doing? Doing maneuvers, which is like a dogfight. It's like an Air Force term. It's like a dogfight from like Top Gun. Anyway, so
Also,
Joe,
that's a word that I can spell under any circumstances.
dogfight.
Maneuvers. Because I'm such a big fan of the band Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, I've always had that weird spelling locked in. It's all blah blah. And so
Many
I
people
was very excited.
Many people
Sorry.
refer to that band as OMD, by the way. So
They do. Thank you for the 80s history lesson.
and I'll say this: I have seen them live. So
That's awesome. They're good live. I had a really bad breakup, and I saw them in a bike shop in Texas, and they did If You Leave, and I sobbed. I was like, I'm always going to be fucking Ducky. And I got back together with him, and then he broke my heart again. It was fine. Shit happens. All right, yeah, take a long sip and a long glare at me, because that will make the awkwardness really seep in.
Yeah.
So Joe Wax is poetic about missing that New York attitude. Mrs. Garrett shits on her Macy's Day Parade and says, you mean rude and hostile?
I mean,
Fuck you.
true. But here's the thing: yeah, rude and hostile. Her friend Jessie, Joe's best friend, is rude, hostile, racist, and has not completed her entire like evening of hate crime she's planning on doing when she's with Joe. That's what she was planning on doing for 48 hours with her best friend. They were gonna go tag some synagogues, burn down some bodegas.
I mean, bodegas could be owned by lots of nationalities.
Yeah, but she's specifically anti-Hispanics.
Oh,
And
no.
also
I'm saying
because
she's racist. I'm just saying bodegas don't necessarily mean a specific race. But,
Yeah.
like, synagogues, yeah,
Yes.
that's all I was trying to say. Synagogues, very specific.
Yes,
Bodegas,
true.
amorphous.
Yeah, true. But my favorite thing about Jessie, which we will get into depth later, is that she's not only a racist, she's just a lazy racist too. Like she's
Did you-
like, what?
Oh, nothing. I just wanted you to know that I have a cat who's, like, literally wants to be on the show. He's just been sitting and watching the whole time. Anyway, go on. Sorry. Yes, she's a racist.
Yeah, but she's a lazy racist. Like she makes these she's like, oh, these are boat people, which she's clearly referring to people who are Japanese. Then she mixes in a Shogun reference, sort of just bashing it all together. Later, she's like, the Kukaracha song. Then she's also talking about the conga. You know, she's like, this is like whatever, all these people, they're all the same. They're all the same.
Yeah.
So she's like if you're going to be racist, be specific. That's the best way to be a thing.
I agree. She's mad at everybody that's not Jessie and
Yeah.
Joe. Basically, if you don't have dark hair and, like, a thick Bronx accent like this, then you might as well go fuck yourself, because I'm going to hate crime you. That's
Yeah.
Jessie right there. But let's not jump ahead to Jessie, who is a good actress, I think. Although my head has exploded just thinking about Becker as an actress. I'm excited about that, to talk about that. But before we do that, everybody's saying have a nice day. Everybody's all have a nice day out here. She was hungry for a good old fashioned rank out session.
Which I had to
She's
look
gonna
up.
get them.
But I had to look that up. This episode was full of these weird, old-fashioned, old references. What do you think we're doing? Maneuvers? I'm really looking forward to a good old-fashioned rank session. Then there was in your ear, out your asshole, whatever the fuck that was. It was just all
Turn blue.
turn blue.
Yeah. So Joe gets a rank out session immediately because Natoots walks up like they're freaking Neil Diamond's backup singers, just all like
They walked in like they had a beat in their step. They were
it was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they basically had nothing to do this week, so they must have rehearsed their one scene like 45 times just out of boredom.
And I'm sure. And Azad Kalata was like, "We're doing one take of this, so get it all out, girls. Like, we're doing one take, so get it all out, girls, and then just head back to your trailer because you're not involved in any of this. So do all your weird, like, jive beat walking up to be like, can we have a rank out with you?" And then Joe's like, "What are you doing? What is this? Get out of my." Okay.
Natalie was like, "We rank out, don't we, Tootie?" And then Tootie was like, "We are so rank."
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
No.
All right.
I will tell you one thing, and when we get to it, I will tell you I laughed out loud one time during this episode, and it's not because of the writing, it's because it's just such a funny. It's a thing that I say about people. And I was amazed at how this sitcom that was written in 1982 just used it as well. I was just very pleased by it. So let's keep going.
Excited. Okay, cool. But Joe doesn't like everybody being so rank around her, so she beats them to the punch and tells Natalie that she's so dumb she can't spell IQ.
And Natalie's like, I didn't realize that I was walking into an insult fight with a flabby joke, and then walks away and can't speak.
Oh, I thought she was like, holy shit, my mind just was blown. I loved it. And then Blair comes in all ready to go, but Joe is still on her high of ranking out Natalie. She can't resist to get to Blair. And so she's like, "You're so spoiled. If you were milk, the date on your carton would say PC." It's so long-winded and terrible. But Blair totally beats her in terms of the comeback, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just a solid turn blue. I've never forgotten that from the first second I saw it.
Because you didn't know what it meant?
Yeah.
Or because it's such a bad insult?
I'd never heard it before, and I've never heard it since, except in this episode. And I've seen this episode plenty, and I've always been like, that's amazing. Cheers.
My chair.
And so I love that turn blue moment. I think that's an iconic moment in the Facts of Life series.
Does that mean hold your breath until you turn blue and die?
I assume yes.
Yeah, which is basically what Joe says all the time to Blair, and Blair says back, which is, "You should die. I want you to die. You should just go kill yourself. Just go kill yourself." When we had an episode where that little girl did kill herself. So this show is insane.
Yes, you're finally getting it.
And what's your favorite show? Okay, let's keep going.
I love it. It's delightful. Anyway, so Joe's delivering these burns slowly and meticulously, and it is not the way to deliver these burns. But there's a clever little turn of phrase that did not get a laugh, but I thought, hey, that's good writing. You're like, no, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Natalie asks Joe if she and Blair are going to see each other in New York, and Joe goes, "Not if I see her first." And I was like, yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mrs. Garrett comes in with her new orange coat.
Crazy orange coat. It was like, here's the thing. If she hadn't been wearing something blue or purple underneath, she would have looked like, because her hair matched her coat, and she looked like, do you remember on Looney Tunes, that big red thing that was like a big monster that was just one big hairy red thing that would just chase her? That's what Mrs. Garrett looked like.
Also kind of like the Mets again. She had a different blue-orange ensemble for going out. So weird. Anyway, Blair gathers her bags and asks Joe to grab one for her. Joe does this.
Yes.
And
this is the one with the backup hairdryer in it, but it also has a strap. So Joe just deposits it right on Blair's face. So she's covered in bags.
Yes, on her nose, like smushing her nose. Solid ending to an opening scene, I gotta say.
However, I will say this. We go out that weird door again.
That door is the hottest door in Eastland right now. I'm so obsessed with the fact that I never noticed its existence. But yeah,
Yeah,
going at that door. I feel like the wall was different this time.
probably. Yeah, it was in a weird dark alley.
Yeah, it was like wet rocks the first time, like last week, and now it's like walls.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Construction.
all right. And so speaking of construction, they did very little in our next set.
Indeed. Yes.
We are in what has to be Darlow's coffee shop, but they scraped Darlow off the window. Bernice is no longer the waitress there, and also I got some feedback from some Facts of Lovelies over the week.
Oh.
Yes.
We do love our feedback.
We do. I love our feedback more than most things, especially in this time. Send feedback, send nude pics. I'll take it all. No, somebody was like, Bernice sucks.
Oh.
Yeah, like fuck Bernice. Bernice is canceled.
Wow.
We're having a Bernice's over party right now. You, me, and our Facts of Lovelies. Because Bernice is watching children get trafficked, and she's saying nothing.
I don't know. I mean, it's 1982. It's hard to get it. I'm just kidding. Of course. Fuck Bernice.
Fuck Bernice. Bernice is over. She's canceled. Just a side note. But she has been canceled because she is not in Darlow's coffee shop anymore. There's a new
Darlow's anymore. We're in Grand Central Station now. We're not in Times Square by sophisticated ladies.
Yeah, we're not. It feels like we're still outside of sophisticated ladies. They blurred the windows.
Yes. They just wrote coffee shop.
Yes, but if you look out the windows, they are now blurry as though it's been like a foggy thing going on, so that you don't have to see that they did not reset the outside.
Which here's because they were going to invest in 2 more additional sets. So they were like, we definitely need to reuse the Darlows because we're going to get 2 crazy new ones later.
And they are crazy. And Darlow's it still has the same neon pink coffee shop sign in the window. And basically almost all of it is exactly the same. Sorry?
I was going to say, including, I think, the posters on the far wall in the back.
I think they might have changed the posters because I think they're train related now.
No.
And they're not?
No. They're like pictures of like that you would see in like an airport of like, of like a rainforest or something like that. Like, oh, we're going to go to Costa Rica. Or there's another one that's like like the Eiffel Tower because we're in Paris. It's like shit like that. Like it's very, whatever. Anyway, let's keep going.
They added a hostess booth. They moved part of the wall where the phone booth is to make it look a little bit more open. And they added a magazine rack, which is very exciting. We'll talk about that. Although that would have been off camera from all the shots that they had in the last episode anyway. But let's get into it. Blow enter.
Yeah.
Is waxing poetic about the smell of Grand Central Station, where we're supposed to believe this is, even though it's right across the street from Sophisticated Ladies. Uncertain. Blair asks why they chose to meet their friends there, and Joe barks because it's convenient, and I think that this was an in-joke for the set people.
Yes, for sure. It's convenient. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so a waiter comes up to them to take their orders for 2 cherry Cokes.
Yeah, and Blair's like, yeah, I want one too, but make sure to give it to me in a clean glass. Guy's like afraid of her a little bit, I think.
I think he's like, I am so excited to use the glass that all the kitchen staff jerk off into in the back. I'm certain. Yeah. Anyway, you want to talk about that guy?
Yeah. Sure. Because he's so important to the ending of this episode.
Hey, he is. So his name's he doesn't have a name. He's Waiter. He's played by Jan Robson, who is a voice acting extraordinaire.
Oh.
Besides being in the Despicable Me's and the Toy Stories and the Inside Out and Monsters University, Monsters Inc., he's also done Bratz, the TV show.
Who did he play in Despicable Me?
I don't know. Lots of characters. He doesn't probably. It said assorted characters. I didn't lock them all down. This episode's particularly notes heavy with the amount of extra guest cast, and I'm gonna lose this earpiece in a second. So when that happens, that'll be good. Anyway, he also played the Rod Serling lookalike in Just the Ten of Us, and the Rod Serling lookalike in Growing Pains, but ironically not the Rod Serling lookalike in Facts of Life. You lovelies know which episode I'm talking about.
Oh, is that the one where Blair kills everyone?
Yeah. Anyway, he's basically done it all. He also did a One Day at a Time right before this, but this is his first besides that, this is his first on-camera role. And the train ride was not good for Blair and Joe at all because they've been bickering the second they order their Cokes.
Yes.
Joe's bitching about all the clothes Blair brought, and Blair's like, "You're not carrying them, bitch. Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, exactly. You know, if she decided to bring this shit, then she decided to bring it. You know, like, and then she's like, you know, she's like, "You're only gonna spend your time in New York changing your clothes." And Blair's like, "What do you give a shit if I'm gonna be changing my clothes every 5 minutes? You know, like, you can wear your one outfit for 2 days. I like to do this. This is my thing. I like to do my hair, and so back up. And then Joe, like, you know, New York explains to Blair, saying, you know, in this city, you got to move fast. You know, you got to be fast on your feet here. And then Blair, very rightly, I'll be honest, I'm more of a Blair than a Joe, even though I am from the Bronx. And I look the way I do. But no, Blair says, here we go again. Another lecture about survival in the urban jungle. And it's like, I am definitely on Blair's side because all Joe does as soon as you go into the city is lecture you about how you're not being safe enough. Right? That being said, Joe was there last week when her best little friend almost got turned into a teenage prostitute. So the city
and she knew exactly what was going on. She was right there. Anyway, so but Joe's mad because Blair was trying to pick up some blue-eyed doll on the train. And Joe did say you got to be careful. You could end up in the river.
Yeah, well, so Blair wanted to hit on this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you know, you don't. And she said, you know, you don't strike up a conversation with a total stranger, which is true.
Yep.
Don't do that, right? And she said, yeah, you make eye contact with the wrong person next time you know they're dragging the river. And then they bicker annoyingly about, like, you know, and then Joe's like, you know what? You wouldn't have even been able to flirt with that guy had I not demanded to change seats with you. And then Blair's all pissy, being like, yeah, I know, because if you sit the wrong way, you barf on me.
Yeah. But apparently Blair's okay with that. She was like, I'd rather that. That than me not get to see where I'm going.
Yeah.
Anyway, they argue it's not cute for either of them. And honestly, it's basically joke free.
Yes. Until over comes, you know, our minion waiter guy comes over.
He's got a joke. He's ready with a joke. He's excited about it.
Not really a joke because he says, 2 cherry cooks, who gets a clean glass? And then they both stare at him. Blow, look at him like, okay, so you pissed in both of them. Just give it to us and fuck off. And then he goes, just a little New York humor.
New York humor?
Yeah, so presumably the guy who wrote this, what the hell is his name again? Peter Noah? No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he thinks that New York is both a war zone and also humorless.
I thought it was funny. He thought it was funny, and that's what's important here. He made some kind of, like, I'm laughing face that was terrifying, that told me exactly why he's been doing voice work for decades.
Well, because that's the best thing about a person is someone who laughs at their own jokes.
That's fine, but it's just when you laugh, your face shouldn't become like a mask of terror, and that's what his did. It was terrifying. Anyway, Blair's eyes sparkled to life. She can't believe what she sees. It's got to be great. It's got to be the best thing in the world. It's not. It's a New York magazine rack.
It's a magazine rack. She goes, I don't believe my eyes. A real magazine rack.
And it's got real magazines for Blair, but fake magazines for Joe.
That's true. But here's the thing. What the hell's going on in Peekskill? Why can't they get any, you know, Newspapers or magazines there?
No, they have them. It's just everything's in a magazine bucket.
Ah, okay.
Yes, that's how it works in Peekskill. Anyway, so it's at this moment. Oh yeah, so Blair gets French Vogue, an Italian joke. Joe got Dirt Bike Digest and Choppa News because they couldn't come up with any real magazines about motorcycles.
Yeah, I guess Car and Driver or
Oh, I Googled it. There's Easy Riders, there's Motorcycle News, Classic Bike Magazine. There's a lot.
I feel like when you did do that Google search, I bet you found a lot of photos of people that you might be attracted to.
No, I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I did have, in researching someone's credits, they were on a sitcom with John Matuzak, who basically he played Sloth in Goonies. And he was in a lot of other things, including Playgirl magazine. And so when I saw the poster for the show that one of our guest cast was in, I saw him and I was like, I gotta Google him. And then I found his Playgirl spread, and my heart skipped all the beats.
So you're dead now. You're doing this podcast from the beyond.
I'm basically drained. Anyway, that's a side note. But the motorcycle magazines, I Googled motorcycle magazines, and I just got a list, black and white text of like 40, and I was like, there's a lot.
But,
the fuck?
But Dominic, in 1982, Google did not exist.
Okay, that's true. But magazine racks did, and I'm sure the Hollywood writers could have gone over, do a little research. Hey, magazine rack, how can I get motorcycle magazines, and what are they called? And you got the answer. Fun. Easy peasy. Anyway, it's at this moment that Blair's friend Becker enters the front door, looking around dramatically, then suddenly teleporting to the center of the diner, then gets a cat call from a certain person in the audience, just one, then skittles her way over to Blair, shouts Warner, Warner shouts Becker, they do a double take and kiss faces and bow.
Now, there were 3 wolf whistles from the audience.
Oh, okay.
And I actually wrote that down with a frowny face because presumably this is a little girl who's Blair's age, who's like 16, and people in that fucking audience felt as though they were allowed to catcall a teenage girl on the stage.
Or wolf whistle, which I'd never heard anybody say before. But I like because it sounds more threatening. Yeah, no, it was gross, but I just want to talk about the editing that had her open the door, look around, and then suddenly cut to a wide shot. She's like 5 feet away in the center of the...
Yes.
It was bizarre. And their little greeting where they like do a double bow and then they kiss.
No.
Super bizarre.
No, I will tell you exactly what happens here. So they call one another by their last names, Warner, Becker, which is a very posh thing to do. They usually do it in boarding schools, much like they should be doing it at Eastland. It's a very posh thing to be like, oh, hey, Rothbard, what's up?
What up, Polnicek?
Exactly. Anyway, so I also think it's a subtle way of actually telling people your last name constantly. Like, oh, I'm the Van Cortlandt. Yes, I'm the Van Cortlandts, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the Kennedys, blah, blah. Anyway, they do a very elaborate greeting, which is they sort of grab hands and do a double kiss, which is very continental. That's a very like European thing to do. And I was like, okay, I see where we're going here. This is Blair's double, but the worst Blair. This is evil Blair. This is chaos Blair, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So when evil Joe, Chaos Joe shows up, they're going to have some weird elaborate ritual to how they greet one another. And they sure do.
Dyke handshake with a belly poke.
That's right.
Anyway, so let's talk about Becker.
Please, I need to know all about this woman because I have to say that her voice work, she should be a voice actor. It was nuts.
It was nuts.
I was like, I wrote this down and I was like, I don't even think I could do this justice. It was just, her intonation was crazy and the shit.
Oh, what? I can't know.
And the shit they gave her to say was just like
spectacular.
She was the best part of this.
But the worst actor I believe we've seen on the show so far.
No, I liked her the best. I've seen worse.
She was so untalented.
Oh, it was great.
It was great to watch.
She's exactly as phony as Blair is. I totally bought them being best friends.
Oh yeah, I bought that Blair would be friends with a person like this. The words that came out of her mouth didn't sound the way words should most of the time.
Like saying things to say? Yes, okay.
But she starts with Ugh Warner, you make me want to toss my C's, which is short for cookies, but one lovely texted me and said, or messaged me and said, why did she just say she wants to toss her seed? Was that an expression back there? So I was like, no. C's.
Yeah. Well, she goes, you make me want to toss my seed. It's nauseating how you get more gorgeous one year to the next. So, yes. She wants to vomit. Yeah.
Yeah. Her entrance was bananas. I loved it. Anyway, so she's played by Dana Kimmel.
Yes.
And she's been on single episodes of many sitcoms. Out of This World, 8 is Enough, You Again, a couple of others. Out of This World is the one where the girl goes like that and stops time.
Yeah, her dad is an alien.
In a box.
Lives in that crystal box. Who's voiced by Burt Reynolds?
That sounds right. I think that's correct.
Right.
Anyway, she also, her biggest opportunity came when she did 19 episodes of Texas, the soap opera spun off from Another World.
Ah, okay.
She also played Chris in Friday the 13th, Part 3. She did 3 different strokes as the same character. And her career petered out in 1990 when she played a model in a softcore horror film called Night Angel. According to her wiki, she also reemerged 21 years later in a TV movie called Sins of the Mother, but that's not on her IMDb, so I am not sure.
Okay.
Anyway, basically she's been gone since 1990, and she's astounding.
Yeah.
So Becker tells Warner it's nauseating as she gets better looking from year to year. They do another double bob kiss. Joe looks like she's finally soured on the smell of Grand Central Station because she got fart face from here to there. Blair tells Becker she loves her sweater. Also, it looks like someone washed last week's fur coat and like got all the gray out of it because now the fur coat looks great. It's nice and clean. Becker responds she would kill. I am talking murder one here for that hair. And then she just grabs it limply.
Blair's like, I know. And walks around whipping her hair around.
Yeah, so that Becker can get a great view of like all angles of the hair. She does like a hair catwalk just for Becker to enjoy. And it's weird. Joe says something about stumbling into a Farrah Fawcett convention.
Oh, that made me feel a bit of a yawn.
Yeah, it was a bit of a yawn of a joke. And then Blair says, this is my schoolmate, Joe.
Not friend.
Schoolmate.
Yes.
Joe shakes hands lesbianly. Very, very up and down, a lot of emotion, firm grip. And then she negs Becker by saying some things you just got to see with your own eyes. And then basically just pushes Becker aside to get to her table around the restaurant rather than going to where she was, which was really close to the restaurant, to the table.
I don't know. Weird.
Blocking was super weird, yeah. Anyway, Becker does some kind of weird Yakov Smirnoffing about what a country America is, that it could house both a Blair and a Joe, and they could get to know each other.
They could be friends. Yeah.
So exciting. And it's at that moment that Joan Jett kicks the doors open and I Love Rock and Roll starts playing.
Yeah.
If only. It's not Joan Jett.
It's evil Joe. It's Chaos Joe. Comes in saying, hey, stranger. And then they have some sort of elaborate street greeting, which is just like bullshit. And they're sort of like, a lot of like holding one another's arms like this and going, hey, hey,
Yes.
hey. Yeah, it
Uh,
was like the exact opposite of what Blair and Dina did.
yeah, but also the exact same. And then Dina, sorry, to me, Dina is always going to be Becker. But Jesse pokes Joe in the tummy and then goes,
You're too
"You
skinny.
look what?"
You're too skinny.
Yeah, she goes, "Yeah, you look thin, eh? They feed you up in that school? I can't believe it."
Yeah. You're fucking fat. Yeah.
Fucking fatty. And then Blair clears her throat because she wants to know who plays Jesse.
Yes, I do too.
Good. So Jessie is played by Alexa Kennan. Did you do any research on her?
No, I don't do this. This is not my job.
I know, it's my job. But she is famous for a couple things. She was in Little Darlings. She was also in Pretty in Pink.
Mm-hmm.
And she was killed shortly after the Pretty in Pink production.
Oh, God.
Yes. There's a lot of theories onto what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Which some people say, and I did a lot of research trying to find the proof, and I actually feel like I did come to the correct conclusion. But the Pretty in Pink cast was told that she died of an allergic reaction to an asthma inhaler.
Okay.
Then later on, rumors came about that her ex-boyfriend actually killed her in her apartment. and that's basically, I think it was John Cryer had heard both stories and then told the press that was the trajectory of the rumor, but he never knew for sure. And then her family and friends kind of came to like post things on public forums to clear the air eventually and say that it was a heroin overdose.
Oh, God.
Yes, but regardless, her Wikipedia says that she was murdered still.
Wow, what a mystery, a facts of life mystery.
Also mysterious, 4 years after her death, an Armand Assante talking monkey movie was released called Animal Behavior, which she starred in.
That was not a sentence that I thought would come out of anyone's mouth.
Would you like me to say it again?
Yes, please say it once more.
So 4 years after Alexa Kennan's death, an Armand Assante talking monkey movie called Animal Behavior came out, and she was in the cast. And so that shit must have been so bad it was on the shelf for at the very least 4 years.
Oh, wow. Can we get a copy of that?
I am on it.
Okay. Write that down.
I will. But beyond that, let's talk about her career. Her career started in 1972. She was in the TV movie The House Without a Christmas Tree. I know you're a Christmas fan, Britt, so you might want to check that out. She also did The Word, a TV movie miniseries from 1978 next year. She was in the critically reviled sitcom Coed Fever, where she played Mousy, which led to her role in Little Darlings in 1980. She did Too Close for Comfort, Give Me a Break. She was in bed with Clint Eastwood in Honky Tonk Man.
Oh.
And of course, as I mentioned, Pretty in Pink and Animal Behavior. Anyway, Joe introduces Blair to Jesse as someone who goes to her school, also not friend.
Yep.
And there's a gracious handshake. They go back to reuniting, but Blair clears her throat again. She wants Becker introduced.
Yeah.
So Joe introduces her as Princess Di. Fuck you.
Okay, so I am a little bit of a Royals fanatic. That's not right. I like the Royals, and I know an odd amount about them.
Well, you spent some time in overseas, I believe.
I did spend some time in the UK, but that's not why I actually know.
Facts of Lovely's drink.
But that's not why I actually know about more than the average bear about the royal family, the British royal family. But so one of the reasons that I know a lot about them is because I think they're fascinating, and it's weird to have a royal family at all.
It's weird that you're fascinated by them.
It's true. But the other thing is that I think I might have told this story on this podcast once before, but when I was a little kid, because I would always be very annoyed by condescending adults asking me when I was a little girl saying, what do you want to be when you grow up, little girl? And expecting like an astronaut or kindergarten teacher or, whatever. And I would
Were
say,
you Natalie as a child?
Natalie, when I was a little child.
no, they would say, what do you want to be when you grow up a little girl? And I would go, a Royals watcher. And then the conversation would just halt because they didn't know if I was making fun of them or if that was actually like a dream of mine. And no one knows anything about the Royals aside from like real royal.
I thought you were gonna say, and nobody knows if you were fucking to them to this day.
Anyway, so so I did a little research into this exact era of Princess Di, like early 1982. So when this episode aired, Princess Diana was pregnant with William.
Heyo.
Yeah. But specifically, this episode, did it air in like the beginning of March, end of March?
I believe so, yeah.
Something like that, right? So I imagine it was.
Beginning of March, I believe.
So it was probably written January, February?
Sounds right.
February. So here's why this probably got into this episode is because in February of 1982, Princess Di was photographed wearing a bikini in the Bahamas with her husband, then husband, Prince Charles, and she was pregnant. And those pictures were sold to the tabloid, and everyone was absolutely shocked by this because it was a huge scandal to show basically, the next in line's wife basically naked and kind of be doing this sort of weird pregnancy porn about it.
But seeing the next in line.
Exactly. Anyway, it was so bad and so scandalous that the Queen issued an official statement about this, which is very unusual for her because the whole thing about the royals is that they just ignore shit. They don't actually address it ever. And the Queen released an official statement calling it, quote, the blackest date in the history of British journalism. Okay, so that might have been true in February of 1982. But
it was also racist in February of 1982, but go on.
True. Then, let me just recount this very amazing anecdote that happened. So Princess Di, so Charles started cheating on Di with his now wife, Camilla Parker Bowles, right? Who's some Duchess of Cornwall, I guess now. Anyway, so he used to date her before he got married to Diana. And then they rekindled their romance after I think William had been born. And then, and while they were having this hot and heavy romance, the tabloids started bugging their phones, and they caught a whole conversation between Camilla Parker Bowles and Prince Charles, and they printed this in the tabloids, where he said how much he missed her and how much he loved her pussy and how he wished he could be inside her all the time, and he wanted to be a tampon. And then they published that in the tabloids, which I'll say probably worse than a 6 months pregnant woman in a bikini.
A bit. Well, that was the blackest day. It didn't last very long.
Anyway, so Facts of Lovelies. There's your royal update from 1982.
Nice. All right. So Blair goes on to interject with Jesse, as they look like they're having way more fun than Blair and Becker and their day is going to be. She tells Jesse she's heard a lot about her, and Jesse's like, big same, you blonde nightmare.
Yeah.
And then Becker dives in because we're on track for a full girl fight. She's like, Jesse and Joe, did you two ride with the Dalton gang? And Blair's like, yeah, sick burn.
Do you know what that...
I was at a loss, but yes, I Googled it.
Yeah.
And you have to go Dalton, G-A-N, before it fills in Dalton gang, because that's how not in the popular culture mind the Dalton gang is in 2020.
Yeah. They were outlaws in the late 19th century in Oklahoma and Kansas.
For 2 years. 2 years. 1890 to 1892. That was their run. Big whoop. We're going to reference them on a kids show in 1982. 90 years later.
Completely agree. However, I will say this, that 2 years in the outlaw business is a pretty long time. Haven't you ever seen Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid?
No.
Well,
I'm too busy watching shit like this.
I actually think that the Dalton gang did run with Butch Cassidy because they were, I think for a time, they were part of his like Rough Bunch or whatever the hell it was called.
I did not find that in my research, but I will say that they did bank and train robberies. Their names were Robert, Emmett, and Gratin,
Yeah.
like the cheese on potato. Bob was the leader, and only Emmett survived. He was jailed for 14 years, then wrote a book detailing most of their crimes, but his widow posthumously revealed a giant train heist in California he was involved in, but always denied taking credit for.
Yeah.
And then something racist happens in the show.
Something. Yeah.
I want to say this. This is interesting. Normally, before I do my notes, I watch the show fully. I immerse myself. I think about it for some time, and then I do my notes and I watch it bit by bit. Oftentimes, that initial watch will be on Daily Motion. I'm on the go. I'm not on the go anymore, but I was watching it from my phone, not pulling up my DVDs. And then so the version that airs, and this is not edited, I don't believe normally. The syndicated ones that are on Daily Motion, they're 25 minutes long. This scene was not in it. This part.
Really? Wow. But they left
Yeah.
in stuff later.
They did, but that's because she's learning her lesson. And here it was more like casual racism without consequence immediately. So therefore, get that gone. But anyway, so yes, some Asian people bump into.
Men bump into Jesse. Presumably they're Japanese because they apologize and bow. But again, that's me making an assumption, right?
That the writers are being authentic.
Right. So then she calls them, she goes, "Hey, watch it, boat people," which is a reference to Vietnamese people, refugees, who had to leave their country in massive droves because of the Vietnam War and the fact that Vietnam had fallen to communism. There was a huge amount. It was basically just Vietnam. So it's like a very specific thing. They made a movie about the Vietnamese boat people called Boat People. It's not like a catch-all. It should be more racist, but it's very specific.
It is very specific, and yet still super racist.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like those boat people must have. I mean, I'm too young to have really experienced it at the time, like the news, but
Yeah.
I feel like boat people was the coronavirus of the late 70s because it must have been everywhere. All people talked about. It's either or Tiger King. Maybe it's boat people is Tiger King.
Speaking of, that's why I wore my shirt today.
Oh, so you can be topical and show your boobs to our lovelies?
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I want the attention too. Anyway, so Britt Blair says that Jesse's family didn't come over on the Mayflower. They should make people feel at home. New York is a melting pot. Seems like Eastland's teaching these girls quite a few things. Good on them. And Joe and Jesse aren't having any of it. But Joe definitely deflects from being racist. Just saying that Blair likes to think of herself as hostess to the world. And Blair's like, yes, I speak the international language. And Joe's like, shopping? Hey-yo!
Yeah. Well, no. Hold on. But let me just go back to this bit of racism that's happened here, right, between the boat people, right? So then she does the boat people about these Japanese men, right? And so basically miscalls them by the nation that they're from. And then Jesse says, you can't turn around without bumping into half the cast of Shogun.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that one. The writers love Shogun. Shogun, it was the coronavirus for the Facts of Life writers.
Yeah.
Because all they could think about was just Shogun.
Yeah.
And then they were like, when can we put in another Shogun reference? It's been 2 episodes.
Okay, let's put it in. No one will remember that. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so again, we talked about Shogun when we first discussed they first made that joke. So Shogun was at the time very famous because it was the miniseries that had just been on, I think in like the early 80s or 82, I think even at the time.
It's 81, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's very topical at the moment, right? It's very popular. But it was based on that novel about feudal Japan, and it starred Richard Chamberlain, known 60s hunk, who's still alive and looks great. Anyway, and he was famous because he was on a show called Dr. Kildare. Have you ever seen it? Yeah.
Not seen it, but I'm aware of it.
The other famous person who was in Shogun was Toshiro Mifune, who was incredibly famous Japanese actor. He was like the most famous Japanese actor of the 20th century. And he was in Yojimbo and The Seventh Samurai, the Kurosawa movie. So he was super famous. So I believe the writers somehow managed to reversed the racism by saying that these are Japanese people by putting in the Shogun reference. Unintentional. I'm making that point.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Joe's trying to disavow Blair, Jesse being like, oh, she's just trying to be, she likes to think of herself as hostess to the world.
And then she goes on to be like, a day with Blair is like going up San Juan Hill. Every time you turn around, she yells, charge.
So before we get there, we have to talk about what Blair says.
Oh, what did she say?
So she goes, she thinks of herself as hostess to the world. And Blair says, I speak the international language.
Yeah.
Which is?
Shopping.
No, what is it actually?
Love.
It is love, but it's also Esperanto, which was a language that was created in, hold on, I Googled this one. Esperanto was created in the late 1870s and early 1880s by L.L. Zamenhof, a Polish-Jewish ophthalmologist from Bialystok and then part of the Russian Empire, but now part of Poland. Anyway, so basically it was going to be this international language that everyone could understand.
Esperanto.
International language. But here's the most interesting thing. It was very disavowed because communists started being afraid of it because it was like, we can't have everyone talking and being able to understand one another. But anyway, there were plans at the beginning of the 20th century to establish neutral Moresnet, a Central Western Europe, as the first Esperanto state. And anyway, the extant Republic of Molossia near Dayton, Nevada, uses Esperanto as an official language alongside English. Isn't that insane?
I didn't know that. Can you say something in Esperanto for me?
Maybe we can have a lovely sentence and give us some information.
I will tell you this. Up until a minute ago, I thought Esperanto was like Spanglish, but for like English and cowboy speak.
Okay. Well, you're showing your whole Esperanto ass right there, Dominic.
I had no idea. It just never came up in my life, but I got to be honest.
Blair speaks Esperanto.
Yes, and anyway, getting back to the joke, Blair saying that going up a day with Blair is like going up San Juan Hill. Every time she turns around, she yells, charge. That is another reference from 1890. Specifically, the 1890s have been called out twice in this scene within seconds of each other.
I know. I thought that this episode was written by a very, very, very old history professor.
And yet this guy's still alive, writing on The Good Doctor. Anyway, who knows? Anyway, so the Battle of San Juan was a decisive battle in the Spanish-American War. It took place on July 1st, 1898, and the Americans won, however, suffered 5 times as many losses as the Spanish, just in case you were wondering.
Yeah.
I wasn't, but it was mentioned.
Teddy Roosevelt led these Rough Riders up the San Juan Heights.
Love a good Rough Rider.
I know you do.
So Becker details all the shops that they're going to be giving serious attention to, and then Jesse rips into her. Oh, you going shopping? How divine.
I mean,
she's good. She's funny. I think she delivers her jokes good, like a normal actress would, whereas Becker delivers them like an alien who has to hide undercover as an actress on a sitcom in the 80s would potentially deliver a joke. Anyway, Blair gently rips the Dalton Jays, teasing that they're going to have to knock over a few candy stores based on the way they look, right? And Jesse didn't come to play. She tells Blair to gargle eggshells, bitch.
What was that? Is that a phrase?
No, I Googled it. It's not at all.
Too.
I did Google this, though. Good alternate uses for eggshells?
I Googled that, too. It was used in early toothpaste.
Interesting. According to Reader's Digest, you can drop an eggshell in a small container of apple cider vinegar. You let it soak for a couple days, and then you dab that mixture on itchy skin. So if you have an itch and you've got several days to wait, that will work. Also, and that's number 2 on the list of things to do with eggshells. Number 5 is use fucking eggshells to separate the yolks from the whites. Mind blown. Are you kidding? That's 5 on your list? Guys, Reader's Digest does not know what to do with your eggshells. Go somewhere else. Try Harper's. Anyway.
When I was a little kid, my grandparents had a subscription to Reader's Digest, and they had.
What they do with their eggshells?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyway, I used to read it as a kid, and they had like the world. They had like kids say the darndest things type, articles or whatever, and then they would have like the top 10 funnies of office humor or whatever. But then like the next page would be like how to deal with a grieving parent who thinks that your dead mom is an angel or whatever. It was just like the weirdest. And I would be reading this being like, who is like my grandparents like this shit? Anyway.
Who is the target audience?
Yeah.
Grandparents.
Eggs. Yeah.
So Jesse and Joe start planning their trip through the old neighborhood, and Blair chimes in again. Hoping to get a black eye, it looks like.
Yeah.
Saying condescendingly, remember, girls, it's a jungle out there. To which Jesse goes, it's going to be jungle in your ass if you don't watch your mouth, Miss Clairol. Whoa.
Yeah.
Blair doesn't take lightly to being threatened. She says that really weird.
I will say this, though. Here's the thing, is that if I were Blair, I mean, and I do spend a more than a modicum of time and energy and money on my own hair.
You are the Blair of this podcast.
Yes, in that I speak Esperanto. And I know how to make a real bitchin' tuna salad. But if someone called me Miss Clairol, I would punch them in the face because of the amount of money I spend on my hair and the effort. But I will say that due to the fact that we've been self-isolating, my hair is not looking as great as it could be because I haven't been to as no one should be, not using in non-essential businesses. But Blair does have some significant rootage in this.
You could be using some non-essential curling irons, though. Ayo!
I actually do have a curling iron. It's too annoying to use. But anyway.
Your hair actually looks very beautiful. I think this is one of my favorite looks that you've had.
Thank you.
It's sophisticated. I feel like we're going to a dark restaurant, but not like a sex one, like an expensive fish one.
Okay. Or ones that you have to eat in complete darkness.
I like those places. Not that dark, though. But anyway, so Blair doesn't take lightly to being threatened, and Becker says she's straight out of that Jesse's straight out of the Sweat Hogs, which is a reference to Welcome Back, Kotter. I haven't seen that in a long time. Did you ever watch that show?
I haven't thought about that in hundreds of years. I Googled it, and then I had to be like, oh, yeah, John Travolta was on it.
Yeah.
And then that guy, Horshack, was on it.
That guy, Horshack, yeah, he was. It's kind of his thing.
No, but no one else on that show ended up becoming famous aside from Travolta.
Fair, yeah. Anyway, so the Sweat Hogs reference makes Jesse stand up and call Becker a Barbie doll. And then Blair stands to defend Becker. And then Joe stands to defend Jesse. Becker's already standing. And she just defines J Class A to the girls for no reason. Yeah. It means low, by the way, just in case you were wondering. Low.
It's no class.
I know. And then Jesse goes, in your ear, which translates as in your rear, it sounded like. It's like, in your ear. That means in your rear.
I don't know.
Well, I know that used to be Q-Tip's motto.
In your ear?
Like, or in your rear.
Was it?
Yeah, get dingleberries. They don't do it anymore because people would push them in too much. So they advised against it.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the hip hop star, Q-Tip. I was like, that was his thing? In your ear? And I was like, I for sure know that Q-Tip that he has his name of his, why he's called Q-Tip is because he has such a sweet, soft voice and flow. That's true. I know that for a fact.
I don't know that Q-Tips have sweet, soft voices, but
okay, anyway.
I also think that you got to know the source and look at me. And am I a guy who's going to make a reference to a rapper or a guy who's going to make a reference to an earwax removal device?
Earwax, obviously.
You know me. Anyway, then this is great. Blair's all like little words for little minds, and then Joe's like, "Who you calling little? Muffin head?" I loved that because Blair's head did look like a muffin today.
Her
Her
head always looks like a muffin.
yes, but her head was also bigger than usual. It felt puffier, like the bottom part of a muffin. It felt like it had that muffin. She just seemed like a muffin head today, and also she's like, "Who you calling little big head?"
Yeah.
Anyway, Blair retorts by calling Joe a grungy grease monkey, basically just transcribing this point because everything they're saying is gold. Jesse tells them to go to the garbage dump and turn themselves in, and then Becker. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That is the one place where I laughed out loud.
That was your joke?
That was the joke. Because she just goes, "Why don't you go to the garbage dump and turn yourselves in?" Because I always call people garbage people. Like, it's like, well, yeah, Donald Trump, he's a garbage person. It's like, because garbage person is such a specific, but also just broad, bad insult. Like, you're a garbage person. Where did you
coming out hot and political this episode?
It's like, where did you get those clothes? At the toilet store? From Anchorman. It's like such a dumb. When you go to the garbage dump and turn. I just had a brain fart. It's such a bad insult.
I wrote a joke in a show once that everybody hated, but I was like, "Come on, let it be in," and they used it to make fun of me all the time. And they left it in, and I still think it's good. Which was like, where'd you get that shirt? The Stupid and Ugly store? And it was just a grandma said it to her kid, and I thought it was great. There's this little thing. Everybody got so mad at me, like what a hack you are. I was like, but they let it in, and whatever.
Anyway.
Moving on. Once the garbage dump turn-in line comes, Becker drops the immortal line of Blair. Turn blue.
Turn blue.
Yeah. Genius. Anyway, blue heart emojis everywhere. The audience loves it. That was a mic drop moment, courtesy of that pimp Mike, who was here last week. Becker works for him. That's where she got her fur coat. Anyway, Jesse and Joe go to leave, but Becker wants to leave first. So they gather up all of Blair's suitcases, and Becker's shocked that Blair brought so little.
Yeah.
They're all the same luggage joke, and I'm just glad that they're going to make 17 of them per episode now.
Okay.
We're out of that scene. Are you excited?
Yeah. Let's keep it moving.
Okay, so now we're into a brand new set. We're in Becker's house. What do you think of Becker's house?
I was confused as to where they came in from. Were they using a sort of a servant's quarter door? Because they entered in directly from the door into the kitchen, which is not usually where, say, one of these fancy pants Blair friends would have. You wouldn't go.
I believe, I could be wrong, but I believed that they were just home now, not arriving home, but home from their day of adventures, having breakfast at the plaza and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Anyway, it was confusing to me as to why we just entered into the kitchen. Obviously from presumably from the front door. But here's the thing. Blair could have dropped all of her packages had they been in their foyer or the living room. But she's still carrying all of her stuff that she just bought at Bloomingdale's, presumably. And she brings it directly into the kitchen and is super excited because she's like, "Oh, I had such a great day. I love having breakfast at the plaza. Oh my God, I can't believe the doorman remembered me. Of course he would remember me. I'm Blair Warner, blah, blah, blah." And then
she literally said weirdly, "I'm having a lovely day." Like she was like this faded starlet being wheeled out to the seaside where some kids laughed at her, and she was like, "Oh, they recognize me. Today's been a lovely day."
Dina reads she finds a note, and she says that she's going to be sick. Right? Dumb fuck housekeeper had to go to the dentist because one of her teeth fell out.
Yes. So she won't be able to cater the luncheon Becker was planning.
Dina says that this is selfish and bullshit.
Yes.
because she's got a whole group of people coming over and she's got nothing to serve them. And Blair's like, we'll make something ourselves. And Dina's like, are you kidding me? Very funny.
Why does nobody say, we'll order something?
I just wrote down, is there no takeout in New York in 1982?
No.
New York is known for takeout.
I agree. I thought that was absurd. This entire plot is bullshit, but it lets you see Blair eat mayonnaise with her fingers, and that's all we need. Anyway, so also Hildy's note said apparently, according to Becker, she lost a filling or something. Was Hildy not very specific in this note? I think Hildy has a little bit of blame to carry because her note apparently says nothing about gazpacho, nothing about crepe timing, nothing about the specificity of her filling. Just vagaries, apparently. Or Becker does not know how to read.
I think you're blaming the victim here. Because Hildy is very nice and did everything. You know, and obviously fucking Becker assumes the worst, that none of the gazpacho's cold and the crepes haven't even been thought about.
Yeah, she's really pissed off. Blair suggests they make tuna salad. There must be some tuna in the house. Becker doesn't even want to know what tuna is.
Yeah.
Blair explains it's welfare sturgeon. I thought that was solid.
No.
Edgy?
Well, so here's the only way that could be edgy and like okay is that if it was clear that Blair was using terms of art that Becker needs to understand for her
She
to
was.
No, but it was sort of like she was like, oh, you know, we call it, you know, it was a good in joke between them. It didn't land the right way.
Well, it seemed like Becker still was like, I am not familiar with whatever you're talking about. Becker did not seem very bright. She's humiliated that the word tuna is even uttered in her home and insists if it's in the house, it's for the cat. Do you give your cats tuna? I give my cat tuna.
No, we give them, they're more of a chicken, turkey, meat eaters. They like that. They're kind of like, they'll probably eat anything. Like they'll eat sausage, you know, or cheese.
Those are my two favorite foods.
What?
I said those are my two favorite foods, but go on.
One time one of them ate a pistachio.
Ooh, how did it go?
It went okay. I think the cat thought it was something else. And was just like, oh, it looks like this thing that I'll just keep, no.
I love a pistachio, so if I were that cat, I would have probably been trying to get some more. Anyway, so Becker finds this whole thing preposterous. Like, how could one expect them, I mean, Blair and Becker, to make tuna?
Yeah.
Blair's like, you're being so extra right now. It's ridiculous. And but she's also still not calling attention to the fact that she could order food. So Blair's also ridiculous.
Yeah, and she's like, it's just so that we can see Blair do this rather elaborate, gross roundabout way of making tuna salad. She first puts on a whole apron. She manages to like run through everything, puts on an apron, goes through all of the kitchen cabinets. Clearly, Becker doesn't really know how anything works in her house or how to do anything for herself. So Blair finds a giant can of tuna fish. It's like, I don't know, 6 inches across and 4 inches high, right?
That's how I like my dicks.
Yeah. And then gets out knows how to find the electrical can opener, which I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
But she didn't really know how that worked on screen. Like she was sort of like, yeah. And she's trying to be sort of like sort of snobby and like, she's like, I do know how we can manage this. Like, what is tuna salad? It's tuna, mayonnaise, and something crunchy. What's crunchy?
Diamonds.
Yeah, normal. Does Becker eat diamonds?
That was such a good moment.
Does she eat rocks? Because she has rocks for brains.
Eat rocks, sort of like turn blue, I guess. Becker is like, Warner, you're always one to try anything once. making lunch. That's so cute. But then immediately once the can opener goes whirring, Becker's like, whoa, you serious about this? What the fuck? Now
Yeah.
I'm really getting mad.
Yeah.
Becker is one of the worst actresses we've had on the show. Fascinating. I would watch a reality show about her trying to be an actress, but that's about where my interest seems to end. But Blair's completely stopped listening to anything that Becker is complaining about. She is just pouring so much mayonnaise into the big bowl of tuna.
Yes.
It's great.
So first of all, she plops all the tuna into this giant bowl, and then she, without using utensils, without using measuring cups, just grabs a Miracle Whip or whatever, Hellmann's, and she acts as though she's giving a hand job to a whale.
One of those big dicks I like, the 4x6.
The 4x6ers. And then it just this huge amount of mayonnaise plops into the bowl. And then she somehow manages to get some on her hand. And then she goes, The audience audibly groans. Everyone's just like, I don't like seeing this. Becker's like, I'm fucking right. This is gross. What the hell do you think you're doing? This is a nightmare. But here's the thing. Let me ask you a question. What is your favorite tuna fish salad? Do you like it?
I don't like tuna fish salad. I like tuna sushi. I like a seared tuna steak. I do not care for mayonnaise very much.
That's right.
So I'm not like anti-mayonnaise. Like I don't mind a chicken salad sandwich, but a tuna salad sandwich is always just a little, I don't know, I'll say fishy. Don't love it.
Oh shit. Yeah, it is fishy. Not my favorite either. But it's like a very, like if you like it, if you like tuna salad, it's a very specific thing that people like, you have a very specific way of making it. Like some people are like, if you put fucking celery in there, I will shit in your mouth. It's like a weird thing. Then some people are like super into having like little bits of pickle in it. Some people like carrot. People are like, if you put carrot in there, I will burn your house down. Like it causes like a lot of like rage. But in England, they make it with sweet corn.
What do you do? Where do you have to shit if you have a sweet corn one?
You shit in the house and then burn the house down. But I always thought that was like a bridge too far for me. Like I would eat a tuna fish salad if I was never going to be seen in public ever again or smelled, and be like, I'm fine by this. But tuna fish salad is not my favorite. But I thought that the corn thing that I learned about in England was bad.
I think it sounds like it could be good, honestly. I mean, like I don't like tuna salad, but like I like when they put grapes and nuts in my chicken salad. So
Yeah, that's Coronation chicken. That's also a British dish.
well, I like that.
Or it could be a Waldorf salad.
Those are okay. They're too salady. But something Waldorf flavored would be, Waldorf salad flavored potato chips. Just grape and blue cheese. What else would be in there? Nut. That is my Lay's do us a flavor. That's what I'm going to pitch.
Good. Also, I actually do have to say that I am a little surprised that there aren't blue cheese flavored chips already.
There probably are somewhere.
Yeah, probably. But like, why aren't they more? I would eat those.
I think it was like buffalo and blue cheese mix, but I don't think I've seen just plain blue cheese. But I agree. I would be into that, and I'll be Googling that once this podcast is over. Anyway, Becker's getting so mad she's about to lose her temper. She does not like seeing Blair try to solve her fucking problem by making her friends sandwiches. What is wrong with you, Becker? And also, then Blair takes a meat tenderizer to mix the salad, even though there's a million spoons in the giant ceramic kitchen tools container. But no, meat tenderizer, let's do it. And then Becker is shocked that Blair works in the kitchen like a common, ordinary maid.
Yeah.
So I was like, there ain't nothing common and ordinary about me.
True.
She says that she takes orders. I'm sorry. She says that she does dishes and waits tables. But waits tables?
I don't know. I never see them actually doing work in that kitchen.
What are you talking about? They're always cleaning up.
No, I mean, they're always clearing shit up or putting shit out. I don't see them doing their actual job ever.
Well, I don't see them waiting tables ever because that's not something you do at a cafeteria. The kids get the stuff they eat. Nobody's coming like, oh, could I get you some more wine with your
They're 12.
oatmeal? Sorry, would you like some more grape juice with your mashed potatoes? Whatever it is, you don't do it. That's not part of the show. Don't wait tables. Anyway, Blair says that she makes extraordinary oatmeal, and Becker says, "Want to try it?"
I don't. Is this where she goes, Blair? You don't even know how to make your own bed? Is that what she said?
No, this is where she goes, well, I wouldn't brag about it.
Oh.
It's such a weird dramatic fashion. She finally reminisces about how Blair used to not be able to make her own bed, which is still apparently not Blair's best thing.
Yeah. And Blair says there's nothing wrong with doing things yourself. And then Hildy returns, and we get to witness domestic violence. Because
Yes.
Hildy is a domestic.
Bazinga. So yes, Becker sees Hildy and is just like, fuck you, you cunt, you're not allowed to have bad teeth.
Yeah.
And Hildy's like, I made gazpacho, I made the crepes, just fuck yourself, it's all done. These two hate each other, and I would watch a spin-off with them.
I would watch Hildy. I wouldn't watch Becker. Becker sucked.
You just loved Becker like 5 minutes ago.
Is it for, like, she's fun in, like, a soupçon of this episode, but, like, 9 seasons of this? I'm already tired of Blair. And this is chaos Blair. So, you know.
Some fighting words. Anyway, it does seem like Hildy's gotten her shit together, but Hildy really should have written in that note, I made the gazpacho, and the crepes will be fine. I'll be back on time. Don't worry about it. Whatever she wrote in that letter, which we are unaware of, seems to be vague enough to panic the shit out of Becker, who is probably easily panicked, to be fair. Anyway, let's talk about Hildy.
Okay.
She's not even our last actor in this episode. You know, I did all of the guest casts separately the day before just because I was like, oh, it's going to be too exhausting. So Hildy, who has no reason being in this episode at all, is played by Bunny Summers, who died 10 years ago at the age of 86. She was uncredited in Funny Girl. She started her career in 1966 on Petticoat Junction. She was on The Ghost and Mrs. Muir, That Girl, Beretta. Also, One Day at a Time, like everybody. I think One Day at a Time shared a casting department with them this year.
It probably did.
I wouldn't be surprised. She did 4 different Family Ties, and she was 4 different characters on Family Ties. She did a Saved by the Bell, A New Heart, and Empty Nest, Perfect Strangers, which makes her an icon in my eyes. She's worked a lot. Her last gig was on Christine Baranski and John Larroquette's sitcom Happy Family, which I adored. I absolutely loved that. It was an NBC sitcom. It was early 2000s. Really good. Anyway, Becker is mad. She's had quite the scare, and honestly, Hildy went through all the trouble to write the letter. She should have put in more detail. But regardless, Becker says not that, which would have been more logical. She instead asks Hildy to take better care of her teeth so that this doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Is that all you have to say about that?
Yeah,
Just a sad sigh?
It was just like, I didn't need to see this spoiled little brat yell at this old lady whose tooth just fell out.
Well, Blair was nice to her. She said, how is your tooth? And Hildy, as big as vaudeville, ask the doctor. He's got it. Slams the door, and Hildy is gone from our lives forever.
Yeah.
Becker wants to know how Blair could take her side, but Blair plays dumb and innocent. Becker's like, you know what you did, you fucking whore? Accuses Blair of changing since she went to that school. And Blair's like, don't fuck with the Lords of Eastland, bitch.
That's right. And then she's like, don't fuck with it. I've got a lot of friends there. And she's like, oh, you mean like that hoodlum at the coffee shop? And then she's like, face it, Warner, that school has gone downhill. They let in almost anyone there now. And then Blair says, Becker, in your ear.
Yes. Standing up for herself and her friend.
That was the long scene and pointless. I
loved it.
No, here's the thing. I was like, okay, so we're gonna see classism. We're gonna see classism, and then I was like, oh sweet, we're gonna now what do we get to see with Joe and Jesse? I was like, what is going to happen here? What is going to happen here? She was weirdly, vaguely, lazily racist and crazy. I cannot wait to see how this goes. And not only does she manage to almost commit a hate crime, she also does elder abuse and is just generally racist in a lot of different ways, verbally, and also insulting to Joe over his ball.
Mm-hmm. So yes, that is correct. We are in the rec center with Joe. It's got to be more fun than with all that Tuna and Becker, right?
Yeah.
No. There's a girl with a headband that matches her sweater, that matches the stripe on her sweatpants, which I really loved. It's all purple. Joe and Jesse are playing foosball, which I forgot the name of foosball. And so I Googled spinny wooden soccer thingy, and foosball came right up.
So clearly you're not the only one.
Yeah. Did you know that foosball was invented in Madrid in 1937 by the anarchist poet Alejandro Finisterre after being injured by a bombing?
Not Mr. Foos?
Bob Foos. He popularized it. Anyway, so Joe's apparently lost 3 games in a row. Wow, Eastland's really changed you, Joe.
I was like, this is the level.
Yeah. Jesse tries to say that being up in farm countries made her soft. Up, as in upstate, where Eastland is. Up.
No.
Up.
No. Here's the thing. I will tell you this. I looked it up literally today. I was like, I wonder how long it takes for you to get from Peekskill to Grand Central Station, because it smells like heaven there. Anyway, I Googled
Hour
it.
15.
Hour and 14. And I looked at the map that's on the Metro North site, and you are not only only an hour and 14 minutes away from Grand Central Station, but you are still in Westchester County in Peekskill. Yep. So suck it.
Mind blown emoji. All right, so let's see. So Miss Lombardo at the record store remembered Joe. Just go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, so Joe says, this place has changed, and then Jesse says, yeah, the whole neighborhood has, and then, but just like Blair with the doorman at the plaza remembering her, she's super proud of the fact that Mrs. Lombardo at the record store remembered her.
But she didn't go, I'm having a lovely day.
She didn't, but she says she kept staring at me the whole time we were in there, and then Jesse says she was afraid you were gonna lift something, which is the implication is that Jesse and Joe used to steal from there all the time.
Yeah, they're the bad element in the neighborhood, particularly Jesse is the worst element.
And now we witness elder abuse.
Yes. Well, speaking of lifting. This old man would like one of those young ladies to lift his checkers off the ground that he somehow whipped some spazzy checker move. Anyway,
isn't that the way you play checkers? Just very violently and crazy?
No, but when I'm old, I'm going to.
It's a very intense game, checkers.
So would you like to talk about Checkerman?
Yeah.
All right, he's our last actor of this episode. He passed away in 1989 at 74, which means he was in his 60s here, and he looks so old. He also did Different Strokes. He'd go on to recur on Alice. He did a couple of Quincy's, a Hill Street Blues before packing it in. He played 3 different teachers over 12 different episodes of The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis.
I don't even know.
Oh, it's an amazing show. It had Gilligan before Gilligan was Gilligan. It was awesome. In the 40s, this guy worked constantly. He got his start as the Greenwich Villager in Greenwich Village.
Good.
Yeah, he's a delight. Anyway, Jessie does not think he's a delight. She tells him to get up and get them checkers yourself.
Yeah.
And Joe's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Jessie's like, no, you don't know this guy.
Yeah.
This guy sucks.
He seems like a feeble old man with his feeble old male friend. And they're quietly playing checkers next door to their loud, noisy foosball game. And they're not saying anything. And then they're like, hey, girls, can you please pick up those for us? It would be a nice. And Jesse's like, fuck you, old man. Go die.
Go die. And Joe's like, no, I get it, because the guys at Eastland are kind of similarly bad. They're annoying. They drop their checkers. The bread guy always tries to, sexually assault me. The campus of boys is always trying to rape us. So I get it. This checker guy seems really awful.
No. She goes over, she picks them up. She's like, here, sorry for my shitty friend. And then, she's like, oh, he's being nice for 5 minutes. And then she like goes over, she's like, and then, oh yeah, Joe's like, it's a community center. He's part of the community.
And then she's like, oh, fuck that. You know what? Why don't we just go spray paint over this freshly made diverse mural that all these kids are walking away from having just painted?
Yeah. So she says, yeah, so are they. Those people who just made their nice mural, right? She goes, everywhere you look, it's nothing but conga dances.
That is a problem in New York, in the Bronx in particular. I was once trying to drive, and like 6 conga dancers I killed 3 of them.
It's a lot. That's the thing about the Bronx. It's just full of conga dancers, right? So the conga dance, the conga line, is a novelty line dance that is derived from the Cuban carnival dance that was popular in the U.S. in the 30s and the 50s. Okay, so she's being racist against Cubans right now.
And specifically Gloria Estefan.
Specifically, she calls her out by name. She goes, I fucked that Miami sound machine. That bitch is a cunt. Yeah.
Como she get better, baby, do that conga.
Yeah. Anyway.
Beat.
So she shits on the conga dancers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then what happens? Joe says something insane.
Yeah, she says, well, it beats disco.
Okay, I want to talk about this very specifically.
Conga does not beat disco.
No, it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. But
we've got some very special lovelies up north who would agree. Disco beats conga.
Yes, but also I will say this. Not only so, first of all, this line gets a laugh. It gets applause. Okay.
Yeah. Well, disco's dead.
Yes, and because this line somehow they make Joe homophobic and racist.
Whoa. Where?
By saying that, well, at least it isn't disco, because don't you remember the disco demolition in Comiskey Field in 1979?
Yeah, but I don't think that had anything to do with gayness.
What?
I don't believe that Joe was thinking gay people are worse than Spanish people. She was thinking the disco beat is so lame, I at least like that fiery conga music.
No, absolutely not. Because here's why. It was the writer, because this was right at the exact time. The demolition disco demolition happened in 1979 in Chicago, in Comiskey Field. It was started by this Steve Dahl, the Chicago shock jock, who fucking hated disco because the place that he worked rebranded to being a disco network when he was a hardcore rock and roll fan. And he did this whole thing, which basically in 1979, all these people, mostly white dudes, stormed the field during a White Sox game and destroyed disco records. It started a huge riot. 39 people were arrested, and like a lot of people were injured. And this is why it's homophobic, because at that time, disco music was well beloved in the Black, the Latino, and the gay community. So it was basically like, fuck you, you darky homos, for fucking up music. That was what the disco demolition evening was. And so for this writer to put this joke into Joe's mouth, they somehow managed to do this weird jujitsu of basically trying to have their cake and eating it too, where because the audience goes, ha ha ha, yeah, that's right. Conga is better than disco because disco sucks.
Disco just sucked as the climate of that time. Like, I've read so many gay people saying that disco sucked in 1982 because it was all about new wave. Disco was passé. It was not cool anymore.
Nope.
It had nothing. I am not going to ever co-sign you saying that Joe is saying something homophobic because she is a lesbian icon, and I do not believe that she believes that by disliking disco, she dislikes gay people. I think she just dislikes disco.
The writer is making that joke.
Contact him at The Good Doctor.
Will do.
All right. So Jesse laments that Spanish is becoming the mother tongue of the Bronx. The only tongue Jesse cares about is behind Joe's sweet lips.
Yeah.
And Joe tries to extol the virtues of picking up another language. I feel like that was also being not racist, saying like, hey, it's good to learn a new language. But Jesse's gross. She'd rather learn her own language.
She said, here first, they should learn from me.
And no, she doesn't. She actually says, I'd rather learn mine if you don't mind.
I'd rather they learn mine. Not I rather.
Sure?
Yes.
Because I watched it 2 times, and both times I was like, Jesse, you know how to speak English.
No.
All right. Well, I will go to the tape. Let's see. Then
Jesse, this is the moment where Jesse has gotten so enraged that she decides she's going to do a hate crime.
Yes.
And deface the brand new nice mural in the community center.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, come on, you've done it. You used to do it. And Joe's like, well, I'm like, commit hate crimes? Like, I imagine Joe, sure, use the spray paint can to write, like, I heart pussy under the BQE. Yeah. But in no way do I think that she was spray painting murals indoors that were still wet, that had some kind of ethnic moral. No, I don't believe it.
But Jesse can't believe how much this stupid school has changed Joe. Clearly, Joe was like this before.
Yes, Jesse's mad. She came back from school, and now she's Mayor Koch.
Yeah.
Which Ed Koch was the mayor of New York City from 77 to 89. He was beaten by David Dinkins. I was always a fan. He's 6'2", which is shocking to me because he's dead now, but at the time, because I always thought of him as like the littlest old man. Like if he was 4'8", I would have believed it.
Ed Koch?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally thought he was a little man too. But he was a Democrat who described himself as, quote, a liberal with sanity. And he was always a confirmed bachelor, which led to people suspecting that he was gay and closeted. But he went, after he got out of politics, he denied that. He said he was heterosexual. He said, blah, 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 whatever. You can make all your jokes as much as you want. But at the time, when Mario Cuomo was running against him, there was a vote for Cuomo, not the homo, which was an unofficial slogan that gained traction with the Cuomo fans.
I'm going to need to see if I can find a pin or a button or some memorabilia.
I know for sure it's out there.
Oh, crap. Okay, that's amazing. I did not know that. Thank you for that fact. So Joe tries to explain that she cares about New York the way she cares about Jesse. Jesse digs further, making fun of how pinky out people drink their tea. And Joe's like, they don't make me drink tea like that, Jesse. Lay off. You're really mad about the tea. She says it's a good place and she's lucky. And then Joe tries to explain that Jesse's lucky too. There's a whole city out there that she can spray paint. Doesn't have to be this mural. And then they fight to get the spray can out of Jesse's racist hands. And then Joe screams, it's a nice painting, Jesse. Look at it.
I know. I
It's
wanted
it. Nice.
No, it wasn't that nice, but whatever. It's a community center.
I wanted it to be nice.
Sure, it was fine. I mean, it was a community center. I mean, like, who sits in there and looks at it? The two old men playing checkers? Anyway,
they're facing the different direction.
Anyway, so they have this very aggressive physical fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is exactly what I hoped for, because that's what I needed from these street kids, to have a physical altercation. Whereas I kind of wished, the thing is that I wish that Blair and Becker had a physical fight using the tuna salad. Did you hear me?
Hang on. And now I'm trying to undo it.
Can you hear me?
No. So Jesse screams at them. Jesse screams at Joe, rather, and says, fine, side with them. And it's this racist tear. And she goes, you can spend the rest of the weekend singing La Cucaracha with them, because you are not spending it with me.
Yeah. Again, here's the thing. Her racism is lazy. Okay? Because the best way to be insulting is to be extremely specific. Right? And so last thing was all about Cubans, right? She was like, fuck those Cubans and their goddamn conga lines, right? And this one, she's like, you can sing the cucaracha with them, which is a traditional Spanish folk song, which is about a cockroach that can't walk. That's what the whole song is about.
I knew it was about a cockroach. I didn't know about his plight.
Yeah. And it became very, no one knows when it actually started. I think it was written around the 15th century. At least it was written down in the 15th century in Spain. But I think it had existed before that because of, I think as an oral culture, an oral tradition. Anyway, it became very popular in Mexico. And it was performed widely during the Mexican Revolution. And it was interestingly, I will not be able to do true justice to the importance of the song, but everyone knows it. Right? That during the Mexican Revolution, it was used on both sides of the conflict to basically say anti things against the other sides. So it was just such a popular song that they just kept rewriting the lyrics to whoever you supported. Anyway,
like your mama's fat and she sucks a bunch of dicks. And everybody hates your dad, like something like that.
But my mom is great. She makes all the yummy food, but I think your dad is out of dad. I don't know. Yeah, it was stupid like that. It's so.
I feel like your song was more complimenting your people rather than throwing insults at them. No, these people are fine. You're out of your mind. I think that you need a timeout.
Here's the thing. When you and I were when we were taking improv classes together, doing the musical stuff was my least favorite because I'm so bad at coming up with like lyrics to meet a specific song. I'm better like just straight improv. Anyway, but it's so popular in Mexico, especially with Mexicans. So she's just being racist against Mexicans now. And I know for a fact that it's popular with the Mexicans in my neighborhood, the ones that own a very popular that own a very popular taco truck in my neighborhood, that is like just constantly just incredibly popular because they have a horn that plays it. So it's sort of like a ice cream truck, in New York City, but this is cucaracha to announce that they're around.
Well, Jessie has stormed out of the rec center, having screamed one of the more absurd things ever screamed on television. She then throws down her spray bottle cap and storms out, and then comes back after Joe stares at everybody quietly for 3 minutes with a Bronx apology saying, if we don't leave now, the Lords of Cucaracha are going to come and kill you for being white. And Joe's like, all right, fair enough, let's go, even though I hate you now and I know you're racist. And you were racist in the diner before, but I let that one slide for some reason.
Yeah, so let me ask you a little bit about this and as to whether or not, how this prop work happened. So when Joe presses Jessie about the elder abuse, and then she's like, he's a nice guy, and then she's like, why are you siding with him? Whatever. And then she's like, the whole place is full of these, spics and Latinos and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, she's a real asshole about this stuff. And she's like, I know what I need to do. I need to destroy this nice, brand new mural that now the Mexicans made it, or the Cubans made it, or whatever it is. She's just.
Both people.
Yeah. So where does she get this black or this, the spray paint from? Presumably.
It was in Becker's purse. Oh, it was in Joe's bag?
Well, it was in whatever their stuff is, their area where their stuff is, that Joe then goes back to get her stuff.
That is an interesting point. I think you're right. I think it did come out of Joe's bag, and I do not know why. I just assumed it was Becker's at the time.
She was like, I'm going to go. I need to remember to do that hate crime that I remember to do when I'm going to be with my old best friend at the community center. But, I'm not going to tell her about it, but I am going to sneak the thing that I need to do it with in her bag. Does that make sense?
Smart.
Yeah. Okay.
Solid move.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then the old checker man gives Joe a judgy look like, I thought you were going to play winner. You really going home with that racist cunt?
Yeah.
And Joe's like, I gotta go. Oh, and then also 2 extras go to play foosball, which was really weird.
No, and it was weird because it was. I actually thought that for like it was such an odd thing because it was like Joe had to kind of like say goodbye to, you know, her
The rec
past.
center.
The
Yeah.
rec- But it was like it was an odd sort of choice to have this community center have like 2 old men, and there were like 2 other older people that they get to fight around, right, by the mural. And people who painted the mural leave, and then while Joe's sort of like looking back, you know, sort of like I think that the message of this is basically like you can never go home again, right? She looks out and then it's like this weird, then this white blonde woman and a big black guy just come in and start playing foosball. And it's like the people who cast this or whatever, like they were like, we need to make sure that this looks super, super diverse. Old people, the Hispanic people, black people, the white ladies, they all like love the community center. Except for racist Jesse, who's like, this place sucks now. I can't come in here without all these old people, all these Hispanic people, black people. I hate it here. They're speaking Spanish all over the place. This place has changed. And Joe's like, this is not that bad. It's community. It's a reflection of the community.
No.
Anyway.
We're out of that scene and we're into our final one. And I am going to turn on a light because it's getting dark where I am. So if you wanted to start setting the scene, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, we're back at the coffee shop, thank God. And Joe's sitting despondently at the counter, drinking a soda. Yeah, okay. You look very nice.
Well, no, my lamp is completely sideways, and I was hoping that it would not fall to the ground, in which case it would give off no light. But it was like a tall light. So it's now like this is the light, and now it's like this. So it's illuminating my face rather than behind me.
Good. You look beautiful.
You always look beautiful. Anyway.
So Joe's sitting in there being very upset, like drinking her soda, you know, and Blair enters, you know, with all of her steamer trunks and 1,000 different boxes and all of her shit, her backup hair dryer, right?
Her new purchases.
And she says, a tab, my visa for a tab.
Are you a Tab fan?
No. Who's a Tab fan?
Bob Tab?
Yeah, Bob Tab is best friends with Bob Foos, the creator of Foosball.
No, it's Bob Tab Goldthwait. It's Bobcat's brother. It's a different guy. Anyway, so Tab was introduced in 1963 by the Coca-Cola people. It's Diet Cola, but once Diet Coke was invented in 1982, it was way less popular. It's heavily caffeinated and was available in strawberry, cherry, lemon, lime, root beer, ginger ale, and orange, all in the 70s, as well as original. There was a caffeine-free version that came out in 1983. What is the point? That's like having a dick-free Dominic. Nobody needs that. And then capitalizing in the 90s on the clear cola trend.
Yes.
Crystal Pepsi. They made a Tab Clear, which I loved Crystal Pepsi. I'm not. A little bit more on Tab.
Okay.
There's currently a Tab energy drink on the market, and in New Zealand, Mexico, and Spain, it's called Tab Fabulous.
That's the best thing you've said in your entire life.
I was very excited about that. That's all I have on Tab. Sorry to have interrupted you, but I was really excited to get to Tab Fabulous.
It sounded as though you drank a Tab just before you gave me all this Tab information. So I remember that Tab, I'm slightly too young for Tab to have hit for when Tab was incredibly popular.
My aunt loved it.
Yeah, it feels like a very much like an aunt who, you know, cares about her counts her calories and goes to Lucille Roberts and does, you know, water aerobics with her friends. You know, it was the first diet soda, and the reason why people liked it was because it was diet. You can drink soda, but the reason why people hated it was because it tasted bad because it had aspartame in it. No, the other one, saccharin, whatever. It had the fake sugar that had this weird bad aftertaste that was bitter.
Sucralose.
Something in that fam, whatever. Anyway.
It's the pink one.
It's the pink one in the pink can. It was sort of pink mauve. Yeah. But anyway, my small Tab story is that I grew up on the Upper West Side, small Tab. I grew up on the Upper West Side in Morningside Heights. We used to go to a pizza place. It was our favorite pizza place. It's still there. It's right by Columbia, where my dad was. It's called V&T, and we would go there all the time because cheap and great and whatever. And I loved pizza as a little kid. And they would give you this huge pizza. It was pretty cheap. And it was just incredible. It was so good. I just have like a sense memory of it. And the only soda that they served was Tab. That was the only one. You couldn't get anything else. So we would be like, because like my parents weren't drinkers, and so and like I was 5 or whatever, like I was gonna drink Tab. But the weirdest thing is that we were drinking this diet soda. This soda for women who want to lose weight. Like a Natalie would drink Tab. It's such a weird choice. But I did love this because when she goes, a tab, my visa for a tab is from Shakespeare. That's from Richard III. It's a horse, my kingdom for a horse. But I love that it's like that in the beginning of this episode, we were fine with I'll have a cherry cola, but now very specifically Tab.
Yeah, she was, 2 days with Becker, you're going to need a Tab. For sure. Anyway, the waiter, Blair was late. Joe's pissed. Her cab driver got in a fight with a horse. This is New York. Shit happens. Whatever. The waiter comes by and blows up Joe's spot saying, see, you didn't have to worry. And Joe looks so mad at him.
Yeah.
And Blair is so happy that Joe's worried. Joe gives the waiter this glare and he makes his signature smile. That's what's kept him from screen work for 4 decades. And just off he goes. And then Blair apologizes for being late. And Joe asks her how her weekend is. And honestly, I'm like, oh, those were nice movements. And then Joe lies, says it's great. And Blair basically does the same. And then Blair says, how was your friend Rocky?
Yuck.
I like that. Joe says Rocky's fine. Same. The camera pans in super intense to show that what a loaded moment this is. Blair olive branches says that Becker hasn't changed much either. She can't wait to get back to school, adding to relax. And then Joe's like, yeah, to relax. I'm beat myself. There's so much unsaid sexual tension between the two of these that I almost lost my mind.
Yeah.
And then Blair says they better get going so Joe can get a seat facing front. And I'm like, oh. And then she starts grabbing her luggage. And what does Joe do? She grabs one of the luggages, the biggest one. And then they hold the door for each other. Blair knocks over some guy that she doesn't give a fuck about, but that's fine. It is such a sweet moment. I think it's the cornerstone of the first one, at the very least, of Blair and Joe's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You disagree.
No, it's fine. But it's that it's based on not being honest with one another and letting everything be unsaid and not being honest about your shitty friends.
Being honest enough.
No, the only reason that was honest enough is because the audience knows exactly what this was supposed to be setting up, right?
Well, what do you want them to get to season 9, Blair and Joe, all of a sudden? We need to take steps.
It should be like, it could have been like, they could have actually, honest, they should have hung the lampshade a little bit more on it, which is not my favorite thing to do for TV show or writing in general. They should have been like, yeah, my friend, it turns out that I didn't know her as well as I thought I did. And that was too much.
For me, this was the best thing the show's done. It was tasteful and sweet and funny, and it was all because you know the characters, that it made you just be like, oh my god, fucking finger each other already. And they're gonna, presumably off camera, I assume, unless it's already happened, which I've predicted. I don't know. I just know that I love their relationship, and I thought this was a really great moment for them.
Yeah.
But shit on it. That's fine. That's what you're here for. That's what I'm here for. This is who we are.
Yeah.
All right. So that was it. We had a couple of technical snafus because I don't know how to use earbuds. So this is going to be broken up into a couple things, do some editing, magic behind the scenes, make it great. Britt, do you have any kind of final thoughts for us?
I'll be honest. I didn't miss Natalie, Tootie, or Mrs. Garrett at all. This could be a show, just Blair and Joe, Blow. This could be Kate and Allie, for all I care.
I love Kate and Allie.
I know, it was great, but that's the thing. Weren't they kind of Kate and Allie and Blow? Weren't they kind of Blair and Joe? One was dark hair and the other one was blonde.
Yes.
Okay.
There was lesbian subtext between the two of them, yes.
Yes. But that's
there was really no, I guess the dark-haired one was more Blair, and Jane Curtin was more Joe-ish.
Yeah, but I could have had like these two characters are so strong, and I understand why you like their dynamic and why you think they're so iconic like this, right? I don't.
You guys got that, right? You guys got that on tape, right? Like
no, and I understand that because it works better like this rather than having all those three other fuckheads do stupid shit.
Yes. Well, I think that I like all the fuckheads.
Natalie learns something bad about her. Blair does something shitty to Natalie, and it's like, oh fuck, now we have to care about Natalie again?
Yes. You'll always have to care about Natalie. Well, that's your response. Well, with that, I think that we're done. I've got nothing more to say except that I appreciate the lovelies. Anybody who's contacted us, the podcast that's meant the world to us. We love our fans, and we're happy to deliver content in these weird, crazy times. Sorry that the technology is not up to par, but we weren't set for this, and I ain't going to Best Buy to get some stuff. Any last goodbyes for you, my lovely?
No, shout out again to all of our lovelies. You're the best, and you're the reason why I keep showing up week after week.
It's not me?
No, it's just them. I do their outside validation of how great and funny and wonderful we both are, Dominic.
Oh, well, I think that our fans are the great and funny and wonderful ones. And we are just, and of course, the writers of The Facts of Life. They are the funny ones, and we are just conduits to their brilliant material.
Yes, this is a service we provide.
Yeah. I'm going to go provide some service to my tummy by cooking up some sausages. So I'll see you and you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.